Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to have Vic back. So Vic, welcome back, dude.
Woo, thank you. It's good to be back. I'm introduce myself, Vic M. Ruiz. Huge honor to interview with you again. To me, you're a celebrity. And I was typed ESTP Se-Ti CSBP. Consume, sleep, blast, play last.
Okay, okay, cool. And so your sexual modalities, you said that you think you might not be double feminine, you think you might be actually audio. Um,
Yeah,
is that because you feel like you learn best from auditory stuff as well as kinesthetic stuff?
absolutely. And I spent 2 years trying to, hash this out. I'm a musician. I play violin and piano. And then for my church group, I'm part of the LDS church. And so I play the piano for the ward, our congregation. And I also do what we call primary, which is where little kids get together and they sing songs and teach lessons. And so I'm the pianist there too. And so watching my daughter, I believe she is audio as well, and how she always likes to touch things and play and stuff. And that's how I was as a kid, especially with the piano. I was just always hacking on there on the keyboard. And then my parents were like, okay, we'll put you in piano lessons. And I picked it up pretty quickly. And besides the music, I love foreign languages. I speak Spanish and English, and I took French in high school, and then just started picking up languages as I've gone along. Almost married a Chinese girl. My wife's Venezuelan. My wife doesn't like me saying that, but I got to
That's
learn a
so
lot of
funny.
Chinese from the Chinese girls. Yeah, when I started learning Portuguese, like I think it was 10 or 11 years ago, I would see Brazilian people and I'd get excited and I'd run up, hey, can I practice Portuguese with you? And como vai você? And started saying phrases like that. I think you're Filipino, right?
I'm born in the Philippines. I'm Chinese.
Oh, Chinese. Okay, Chinese born Philippines. So with
Yeah,
you, I'll say ni hao.
yeah, but I don't speak Chinese. I speak Tagalog, so it's weird.
Oh, ¿cómo está acá?
Yeah, there you go.
That's all I know.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Well, Tagalog is actually 15% Spanish, so you know, like
Okay.
yeah, a lot of words are the same. Like mesa is table, cuchillo, the knife,
Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot of like tons of overlap. They know uno, dos, tres also, like the numbers. Like,
wow.
yeah, tons of it's a former Spanish colony, so it's but it's everyone can speak English in Philippines because it's an American colony also. So it's kind of no point. You speak English and it's good to go. Um, anyways, um, so some stuff about the sexual modalities then. Some cross checks we should check out is like the smash energy. So if you have masculine extrovert sensing, then you have this inkling feeling like you want to like smash things. Do you have that inkling feeling?
Yeah. I've got a few stories to share with that. One time in, let's see, sleep processing here, deciding what to share. Um, I used to love grabbing like beer bottles and stuff that I would find on the side of the road. And I don't know, I just always get a thrill smashing them on the sidewalks.
Jeez.
One time in my neighborhood, I think I was 17. I was about to smash it on the curb, and this guy was looking at me. And I'm just, waiting till he goes away. And the guy wouldn't go away. He just kept standing there looking at me like this little troublemaker's going to do something. I better watch him. So I'm like, okay, crap. So I pretend like I was going, and then the guy left. And then I came back and smashed the bottle.
And then do you have good memory also when it comes to sensory details?
Yeah. And that's also another thing why I thought when I was going through the checks, is that my dad said that growing up, I was the kid that had everything memorized. I used to big into stargazing, so I had once upon a time I knew all the constellations in the sky, and then just memorizing vocabulary and words, and then music as well as with songs. Although as an adult, it's been harder for me to memorize stuff. I don't know if it's because I'm aging, but like as a kid, I was really good at memorizing.
Getting old, man, just getting old.
I'm only 36.
Yeah, getting old, man, just kidding. um,
I already lost my hair at 22.
Oh my god, now you're gonna lose your brain. Just kidding.
I hope not.
Better take those supplements to like enhance like memory and stuff. Is it ginkgo biloba? Is that what it is for the memory?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Better start looking into that. I have bad short-term memory and good long-term memory, so or
Oh
you might
yeah,
have AD.
SI. Yeah. So your memory is probably a lot stronger than mine.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But like I was talking to a psychologist about it. He said that if you have ADHD, you have good long-term memory and bad short-term memory. So another thing to keep in mind, a lot of EPs have ADHD, right? So
I have ADHD.
oh, is it officially diagnosed?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, so do I. So there you go. That's probably why you have bad memory. It's probably not. It's probably ADHD. Um,
I take Ritalin as well, the medicine, just to keep me focused.
which one do you have? Do you have like because there's three kinds, right? There's like the hyperactive, inattentive, and the mix. Like which one of the three are you?
Remember. That's a good question. I should know this. I think it's inattentive.
Yeah, that makes sense. Introverts are the inattentive, while the extroverts are the
Like I'm not the
hyperactive.
hyperactive, ADHD all over the place. But I'm kind of more, just all over the place in my head, and I get bored easily. And so yeah, I think I'm that one.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I have the mix. I have both, which
Yeah.
makes sense because I have play blast and it consumes sleep, right? So like hyperactive and then swing, inattentive, and then back and forth.
I could see that, traveling the world and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, dude. Okay, I think we can safely say you're MF, just based on your description. Like, I mean, David Shan did say most people can see their own sexual modality. It's not like a surprise. I think I don't know if you saw that video where they were talking about sexual modalities and they said like when they first released it, they thought people might get like offended by it, but then turns out everyone was like cool with it. They're like, oh yeah, that's normal. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they're like, oh, what the.
Yeah.
I think sexual modality and social type, those ones people can probably self-type themselves pretty good. It's pretty obvious. Um,
And I
so
think it got me as double feminine because when I was making the video that day, I don't know, I was really tired. And
yeah.
so I kept doing a lot of this and that. And I guess the visual people are always looking up.
Yeah, but you're just tired. That's why you're looking up.
I was just tired.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, it is
But
what
I
it is.
know to a T that I'm feminine DE because I don't like to fight people. I guess I look like somebody that I guess I don't consider myself somebody that likes to fight. I
Yeah,
like to smash things, but I don't like to hurt people.
yeah,
Like I'm a lover, not a fighter, peacekeeper, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. As long as you have something you can smash away from people, of course, then you're
Away
good.
from people, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Okay, well, let's go with MF because it feels like it's legit. Let's move on to the next part.
Yep.
What has your journey been like since our initial interview 2 years ago on your journey working on your SF playlist? And I guess your playlist then would be MF. It wouldn't be FF then. It wouldn't be the tester. It would be audio.
It'd be audio last.
With,
Yep.
with a tribe, with a tribe.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough. So what's your experience been like with working on the playlist aspect of it?
I've been just learning to actually listen to what people have to say because I don't know, mentally I'm just too stubborn, I guess. That double basculate activated TI, whatever it was they got me. And so it's like with sitting at meetings and reunions and stuff, and everyone's talking, and then I'm just like trying to process everything that everybody's saying. And then it's like, okay, did you hear what I said, Vic? I'm like, oh wait, what? And so it's just a matter of actually trying to just listen, shut up and listen to what other people are saying.
Oh, and then process later. So don't
And
don't
process
process right
later.
away. Just wait. Just wait until later.
Because for me, it's like, okay, I'm hearing, I'm trying to write down things, or I'll ask questions, and then, especially like in engineering meetings, they don't have time for that. It's just let's get on with this. Let's continue.
Yeah. I guess you being info dom is messing things up because you're trying to get all the information together.
That responsibility for getting that accurate information right.
Right, right. Okay, you know what, dude? I'm talking to you right now, and you're not the worst at the back and forth thing, but that could just be because you have consume and blast in your first three animals. Um, and I'm also infodom, so maybe that's how it's easy for me to talk to you. But what has your experience been like talking to energy doms who wants to play for the sake of like, just fucking around, right? Just
Hmm.
having fun. Like what's your experience like with that? Is that something that's difficult for you?
Yeah, like when I want to have a serious conversation, they just, depending on the people in the group and stuff, they just want to laugh and goof around.
Yeah.
It's, oh, we don't, oh, I don't want a serious conversation. Let's just laugh and have a good time. And nothing wrong with that. But I guess I just like more serious conversations. And there's the energy down people just want to party and laugh and crack jokes, slapsticks.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I can relate to your sentiment. I do have play first, so I can do a little bit of it, but and ultimately I want to do the info dom stuff because like I can't sustain it, man. It's too draining to do that slapstick BS. Like I'll throw it in here and there just to energize the conversation. But if I were to do it for like hours on end, like those energy doms do, I cannot. That's just too much. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I could do it for like 5 minutes maybe. And then afterwards I want to go back to like a more info dom conversation. I also recognize that too with like when I interview other people who are info doms, who are play first, like Samuel, for example.
Mhm.
He'll inject some fun into it, but he wants to go back to the information also. Like so
Yeah.
it's definitely there's a huge difference between us info doms and the energy doms, like day and night. Like sometimes I interview an energy dom and I'm like, oh my god, we're not clicking, because like they wanna mess around and I just wanna get all the information. So it can be challenging at times.
Yeah, especially like when you want to ask questions to somebody and they just respond back with just some joke here. It's like in college, I was trying to have a conversation with a gal and she was like full, energy dom, ESFP, whatever she was.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the conversation, she just started dancing. She's like, and I'm just like, okay, she tuned me out. She's done talking.
That's annoying, man, but what can you do? It is what it is. That's how. I,
You
I
can do.
mean, maybe we're doing something wrong because that's half the population are energy doms, right? So, like maybe we should learn a little bit more. Just like take it easy, stop obsessing over the information. You know enough already. Just cut it out, right? Um, I don't
Pretty
know.
much.
Yeah. All right. So it sounds like the biggest problem for you is like the goofing off side of the play last is or yeah is the goofing off side because you want to have more serious conversations. What about gathering data from the tribe using play? Do you find that that's not the hardest thing for you because you are infodom?
It's been a huge struggle.
Okay.
And I worked for Boeing for a year. It was the dream job. And the complaint that I left the company, another story for another time, but when I was there, the complaint that I got was that I wasn't actively engaged in meetings. I was like, what? Then I asked my manager at the time, like, how so? Oh, they think that you don't care because you're not actively participating and talking and stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying to process everything that everybody's saying. And so I had to like actually try to talk more and ask more questions and stuff. And then people would get annoyed.
How can you win?
I can't.
I think, dude, I think people just want you to nod. Because I think because the problem with play last is sometimes your face is just stoic, right? You know,
Yeah.
and like people don't know if you're listening or not, or what the hell's going on with you. So, and they don't actually want you to talk to them. They just want you to like they want to feel understood. So I think like you just have to go like this, right? Like it's so dumb, man. It's so annoying. As a lead play person, I know like okay, if I want to come across as attentive, I just have to nod my head. Honestly, man, even if you don't listen to them, if you nod your head, it looks like you're listening. So um unfortunately that's like this annoying thing. Um
Yeah, I could do that, just pretend and go, uh-huh, yep, understood. I don't have a clue what they're saying. Just it just feels fake. I don't like to do that, but
that's what the consume last people do.
yeah.
They don't have no clue what you said, but they're nodding their head.
They're
You know?
know-it-alls. They know what they're saying. They don't have a clue, but they sound like they know. Speak with authority. Yeah, I should be
Yeah,
more like that.
yeah, exactly. Just for me, just for meetings.
I
Okay,
forget
cool.
you.
So okay, so gathering information is hard and messing around is hard. Um, what about the SF side, like the being the cool, popular, tracking what's popular and like following the trends? How are you with that, like nowadays?
Let's see. Growing up Latino, I'm a huge classical music guy,
Okay.
and most of the people are not into that. And that was the problem growing up in college, or going to college and stuff, is everybody just wants to listen to top 40. And so in my head, I'm like, that's like conforming music. Everybody just listens to that because it's cool and everybody's listening to it. And I'm like, I don't see the point. But then I pulled up, I just started to listen to like some popular Spanish songs. I don't even remember their name, Bad Bunny and Luis Fonsi,
Yeah.
the
Daddy Yankee.
reggaetoneros,
Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee. Yep. I said, okay, I'm just gonna listen to these songs, and they're actually pretty cool. I really enjoyed listening to the songs, and so it kind of makes me more like relatable to people with the songs.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love reggaeton, like those kind of music. I freaking love it.
They're fun,
I don't know what they're saying, but I love it.
just the rhythm and
Yeah, dude, it sounds good. Like they're doing some. I don't know, man. Like, dude, the Spanish people know how to make music. That's all I'm gonna say. Like Spanish people know how to make music. It's like because like I've traveled a lot and I've listened to music to different countries. I even pissed off some of my friends. I remember I went to Vietnam, right? And then I told my friend who's Vietnamese, I'm like, dude, your people's music sucks. And then
I don't. What did they say?
he looks so mad at me. He looks so mad. And we're best friends too. I've never seen him look so mad at me before. He looks
Whoa.
so mad. He really took it personally. But it's true. Vietnamese people, their music is shit. Like, no offense. I mean, too late.
I,
Like, it's
I
too
have
late
no
now.
idea how it sounds, but
It sounds
I'll listen
terrible. That's
to
what
it.
it sounds. But like,
I'll take your
like,
word.
yeah, it sounds terrible. And I've also traveled to different countries, so I'm like, I'm aware. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but I know what sounds good and what sounds bad. And like when I was in South America and they're listening to all this like reggaeton, I was like, fuck, I was like so pumped up. I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds so good, right? You know? Um, so I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. But like, um, but that's cool. But it sounds interesting that your play last is really play last. Like you really have trouble with it. Like it's like I think the only thing you can do with the play last is actually like have conversation with people, which is good. Like you can do the back and forth. So that seems to be like the play last aspect that's not missing. And then the SF you're doing more now. Because like, just to be more relatable, you're doing more of it now.
Mhm.
But it sounds like you still have trouble with like the messing around. It seems like you're kind of okay because we were doing a little bit of it and you can do it in small spurts, you
Yeah.
know. So but I think like you need to build up endurance for it from the sound of it to like do it longer.
I
Um,
have a coworker at my current job. The guy is just jokes all the time.
yeah.
Like when we were going on a work trip coming back from Kansas City at the airport, these guys all got their TSA pre-boarding passes and they all went and started eating, and I had to wait in the long line to get through the regular TSA. And so then my boss texted me, just in our group chat. It's like, oh, hey Vic, where are you? I'm like, I'm stuck in TSA. And then the coworker is like, oh, he got caught with drugs and he's getting arrested. And then I responded with, hey, that was a secret. And then my boss just laughed.
Oh, I see.
It's like, whoa, we didn't expect that out of you, Vic. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the SF. The guy's really teaching me how to be more SF playful and jokeful.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So you're picking it up a little bit. Like, yeah.
I don't know what his type is, but somewhere in the high play and type of thing.
Yeah, you should have been like, I watched Narcos, but was inspired. Like
Oh yeah.
all right, that's cool, man. That's cool. So it looks like you're actually like chipping away at it and it's starting to get better as you get older. For all we know, in like 10 years, I talk to you again, you're like all SF to the max, SF play
10
to the
years, they'll be like, you're not play last, you're sleep last. And I'll be like, no.
you're like, yes, yes, I
Yeah.
am.
My dad, he's a jokester too. Like he's like some ESFJ lead play. I don't know what his type is. He's just always joking around with people everywhere we go. He'll go to like any random business or restaurant and be like, I want 2 cheeseburgers and a French fries. And then the waitress would be like, you're at the wrong restaurant. And then my dad just laughs. And he says, just kidding. And then he will tell me like, hey, come on, you need to lighten up, joke around. So I've been kind of learning more from him.
Yeah, it is fun to mess with people. So it's true. So you know, you can get a surge of energy from doing that. Like that's why the energy dumps keeps doing it, right?
All the time.
Yeah, they just can't stop, which is the problem, you know, because there's time to shut up and be serious, right? But you know, it's fine. Time and place for everything, right? Um, let's talk about your social type then. Social type wise. So you think you're 1 or 3? Um, what does your life pile look like? Let's start with that. Like let's start with career. What does your career life pile look like?
Okay. I'll just be upfront and say it like it is. I've gone through 7 engineering jobs in the past 9 years.
So like almost one every year.
Yeah, and I'm not proud of it.
Is that like a new position every time, or is it a different position in engineering?
I'll give a quick rundown. First job was the complete debacle. I got fired from my first engineering job. I think it's the first time I've gone out in public to say this, but I think enough years have passed by that I can just go ahead and share it. And then the second job was a contracting job that I got, like a temporary. It was supposed to be 3 months, and that lasted for a year.
Okay.
And then work slowed down, so I'm like, I better look for another job, or else I'll get laid off, and I need money. So then I worked at Northrop Grumman for 2.5 years, and it's an entire story there. But long story short, a whole series of events took place, and I decided I need to move on from this. And so I left for a startup company, Eclipse Composites, back in 2020, like a few months before COVID. And I was only there for 4 weeks. The owner, the owner got into a feud with the other owner who owned 20% of the shares, and big feud. And then the 80% guy fired the 20% just all of a sudden, and then came over to Salt Lake and fired the people he hired, including myself, or
Oh,
laid off.
bad timing.
It was bad timing. And then right before COVID, so I spent several months without a job. And then I worked at a company in Jacksonville called Andromeda Systems Inc., the most toxic workplace I've ever encountered. The boss was, I don't want to talk bad about these people because I've got friends that work there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think most of them, I think they all agree that it's a toxic workplace. We did government contract work for the Navy. And then this gal who's like 28, just really mean and bossy, always sending us nasty grams every day and micromanaging us, asking for a daily report every day. And so then after that, I had enough of it and quit almost on the spot. And then my wife out there in Jacksonville, Florida, she's like, I want to go back to Utah because we have a 4-year-old daughter she's autism. And so Utah has better resources. And so we left Florida, came back to Utah back in the end of 2021. Worked at an Amazon warehouse for 3 months, just kind of like something until I can find an engineering job. Got into Boeing for a year. Then after leaving Boeing, Boeing was also another toxic workplace. It was a dream company. I wanted to work there, but it just has so much bad management. Just like with the Boeing's the two. I don't know if you heard about the Maxes, the 2 airplanes that crashed.
Yeah, I remember.
That was just infuriating because if they would have checked the MCAS system, which is the system that the pilots use to steer the airplane, and it was upper management that decided to still push to have these airplanes come out instead of actually checking them. So it cost the lives of 380 people, whatever. And all they did was just replace the faces. Well, let's take out these idiots here. Let's give them their $18 million golden parachutes, and let's put these other idiots to run the company. And it just changed faces, but it was still the same. It's a company. I don't want to trash talk Boeing. I wish Boeing would become great again. But in the current state that it was when I left, it's just management picking favorites. It's not about innovation anymore. It's about whoever complies. And so if Boeing likes somebody, okay, they go up, they move up, right? If they don't like somebody, they don't move up. And I just didn't think that was fair. had a senior director who's a really tough military guy by the book. This kid was only 29, but he carried himself like he was 50. Senior director for like several plants in Boeing. I mean, the dude was sharp, very smart. But I'm like, this is the kind of people that Boeing wants, just wants compliance instead of actually like speaking up and giving ideas. And I couldn't do that. My job security and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm done with all this shenanigans. And now I work for Hill Air Force Base. I'm doing, I can't really say what military type of work that I do, but it's a lot of fun. And I've been with these guys now for almost 6 months.
Nice.
How's that for a rundown?
Yeah, no, it's a really good rundown. I like it. I like it some info dom. If someone was energy dom, they'll be like boring, maybe. Just kidding. But like, I like it. I
First
think
job sucked. Second job was boring. Third job was boring.
Yeah.
And last job sucked. And this one's fun. That's probably how an energy dom would talk.
It sounds like you're a three, dude. Because one of the biggest cross check that Dave and Shan use is like those threes. They're always shitting on the upper management, which he just did the whole time here.
I shit on them all the time because they're, yeah.
Yeah. But what makes you a three instead of a four though? Because fours are also specialized also. And then there's something that you said earlier that kind of made me think you kind of sound kind of like a four. So when you're complaining about toxic workplace, and then so one of the cross check for number four's life pile is they change jobs a lot because they're looking for the right job that has a good working environment. And that's exactly what you did for the last freaking.
Yeah.
And you're so friendly, dude. I'm like, you don't have the standoffish three vibe. I'm not saying all threes are standoffish. A lot of threes are friendly also. But it's not like they like a lot of threes, they have friends, but it's like just one or two maybe. And then that's it, right? And then like, and also when it comes to friendship, they're a little bit weird about it. It's like more structured, you know. We're like, let's go meet once a year or something, or twice a year or something. Like there's like a structure to it. So you feel like even though you're play last, it sounds like you are actually chill with people, and people ask you to hang out, you'd probably go and hang out. I don't know, is that true or no?
I'm a four, then yeah, because when I was at Northrop Grumman, like we became buddies, our coworkers, and we'd talk forever.
Yeah.
The boss that I had at the time, really nice lady. She threw me a farewell lunch, ate at Red Robin's, and everybody signed a little placard. It was like a placard that showed the A-10 Warthog airplane.
Yeah.
Everybody put their little signatures around it.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
And then when I left Northrop Grumman, turned in my badge, I started bawling, like crying. I'm like, I really miss these guys.
Yeah, dude, I think you're a four, dude. Like, yeah, because I think you're super friendly. You love community, and your specialization still, which is a four, force a specialist, and then you're just looking for a good work environment, that you can like really specialize in, and obviously, hopefully, it's a work environment where people are friendly and they foster growth, and yeah, that sounds like what you're looking for, and it sounds like you found it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend too, she had this thing where she kept like switching jobs also because like she couldn't find the right one. She's on number four also. And so it sounds like a four thing where like finding the right job that where you can specialize and have a good environment. Like those are like the two key ingredients, right? So
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with job hopping until you find what you're looking for. Because ultimately you want to commit to something that like, will foster growth, right? And also like a sense of community. And like, why would you stay someplace that's toxic? And that doesn't make any sense, right? So, I think based on your life pile, it sounds like you're four.
That makes sense. And my love language, I get words of affirmation and quality time. So quality time.
Yeah,
That actually makes.
I feel like the love language thing's not honed out yet with OPS because like words of affirmation some people with number ones, but like a lot of fours also really like words of affirmation. I think it's a little bit different than ones and fours though, where like the words of affirmation pumps up their ego, whereas the four, it's just like the words of affirmation is more like reaffirming the togetherness that you guys experience or appreciation. It's like a sense of appreciation. So I feel like it's not quite honed in quite yet with OPS. So I actually want to use it as like the weakest cross check right now because I don't think it's quite as honed in. Yeah, the only thing honed in right now from what I can see is maybe like the twos and the threes. You know, threes like in gifts and the twos with the acts of service. I think those are definitely honed in. But the ones and fours, there's something off with that whole thing. Also, another thing I noticed, because they said that people with masculine sensory love touch. There's a lot of people I've interviewed that with feminine sensory that also loves touch. So that's something's not quite honed in yet. But maybe in several months from now or a year or something.
I have a take on that, what you were just saying.
Sure.
Is that, like, for example, words of affirmation? Like for number one, my guess would be like, I have a cousin who's a multimillionaire entrepreneur, construction business guru guy.
Yeah.
A year younger than me, and the guy's crushing it. I believe he's a number one.
Yeah.
And he just lives off of these compliments like, oh wow, you're amazing, you've done so much good things, thanks for all you do. And he's like, oh, thank you. And he loves it when people praise him.
Yeah.
And the guy's very like competitive. Like he's one of those negotiators that'll come up to people and just insist until he gets what he wants. And it's not only he wants to win, but he wants others to lose.
Oh, I see.
And I'm like, that does not sound like me. I was reading that one description. It's like, I'm gonna crush you. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I guess I have to do that now for growth if I'm a number four.
I mean, I think you're supposed to just find an arena where you can do that, like a small arena. It could be like a sports, like a small, like a local sports club or something, like, or like something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be like a big thing or like something that you, or like put your name into something. I think that's a big one too. Like, you know, you don't want to die and you meant nothing, right? So you want to put your name into something, even if it's something small, like, you know, like being the guy that like donates a lot to certain charities and you have your name towards that or something. You know what I mean?
I do
So
photography, and like I do like astrophotography. I guess those were my specialist.
yeah, you could get
The
your
pictures
name.
that I publish, I have my little name at the bottom, my logo.
There you go, man. That's
So
good
there's
enough.
my stamp
Good
right
enough.
there.
Good enough, man. Oh man, no, the number ones, man. I really admire how they tap into the darkness of things because like they use darkness to fuel themselves to get ahead, which I think is good because like you know humans are light and dark, and you know you need to be able to tap into both sides. I think to be a normal human being, because if you're all positive, right, then when's that negative thing gonna come out? It's gonna come out eventually, and it's gonna be bad, right? So you know it's good that you're getting both of them out at the same time, but like I think the bad thing with the ones is like when they become a gatekeeper. And I'm only saying this because I'm an EP and I don't like control people who are controlling. But like I did notice with like certain workplaces, you have to play the politics game, and you
Mhm.
know, so if you want the ones to promote you, you need to do something for them, you know. Hopefully that
Maybe
boosts their ego status.
maybe that's what happened when I was at Boeing, is just a lot of number ones, fighting to get to the top.
Yeah,
And I just didn't like that.
yeah, it can be tough, especially when you work for like a corporate setting, because there is a lot of like ladder climbing, and ladder climbing is a lot of politics involved, and you know, like unfortunately you do have to play the politics game if you want to climb the ladder, you know. So if you're not willing to play the politics game, you're probably not going to climb up unless you really stand out. And again, that's also one flex, right? So unless you really flex, if you don't play the politics game, you better be good at flexing, you know. So it's like a lot of that stuff, right? Like flex and um you know competition. So it can be draining, man. It can be draining.
I do have a buddy that's really big into like what you call it, the NF woo woo, the psycho, abstract. I don't know what to call that stuff.
Yes.
Where like he'll talk to guardian angels and look into the future, and he does a lot of this. And so he told me, close your eyes and visualize yourself being number one, the best in your job.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. And so I've been trying that exercise. And so maybe he subconsciously knew that I was the number four without knowing the social types or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like people know, man. Like they like I think humans know this stuff. It's just like obviously they don't have the right words to call it, but
Wow. What's your social type?
Dave and Shan thinks I'm either a 4 or 2. They don't know which one.
I'm
Because
kind
the
of going with four with you.
I think I'm a 2 because I'm going with the because I'm looking at my animal stack. My animal stack looks like a 4 because play is with number 4, and then blast is with number 3, and then number 2 is consume, and sleep is number 1. And if you look at my animal stack, it's play, blast, consume, sleep, which is those exact stacked for number 4. But I actually think I'm a number 2 because I'm looking at my life pile, and my life pile doesn't say I'm a number 4. It says I'm a number 2 because I'm a jack of all trades. Like, so for example, I work in fitness for 10 years, and that sounds like specialization. But if you look at what I'm doing personal training, I'm doing circuit training, I'm teaching spin, I'm teaching a senior class, I'm teaching a class for people with osteoporosis. I also recently just got my yoga certification, so I'm a yoga instructor now too. And then yeah, so I've teach a bunch of different stuff within fitness, and then on top of that, I also work as a paid travel blogger for 1 year for this travel blog from Pittsburgh. And so for 1 year I was working as a travel blogger, and then also on top of that, I have my own travel YouTube channel, my own travel blog, and personality trainer YouTube channel, right? And then on
Yep, I
top of that,
agree. You are number 2 because you're actually doing that. And I've dreamed of having a travel blog and doing these things, but I just haven't gotten to it.
yeah,
Okay, yep, I can see number 2.
yeah, and that's not even done yet, dude. I work as a supervisor for the Canadian federal election, which I thought was the easiest job ever. I had to manage 15 people, and I thought managing people was the easiest thing possible. Like, I love the fact that I was in charge of like a group of 15, and I was the one delegating the task, kind of like, the number 2 moving the specialists around. So I thought that was really good. And then even recently, I worked for 1 year as a recruiter for a travel nursing company and also for a security company, while doing the fitness stuff, while doing the travel blog, while doing the travel YouTube channel, while doing the personality YouTube channel, all at the same time. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff at the same time, man. And on top of that, I also, since I was 10 years old, I've been the guy that is responsible for all my friends. When we go on a hangout, I organize where we're gonna go, when we're gonna go, what time we're gonna meet, who's gonna go. I call everyone up, I create the schedule, all that stuff. I'm an EP, dude. Like, what kind of EP is doing all that stuff, right? Like,
Yeah, I do that too. So maybe that's number 3 or sorry, number 4. That would be
it could be, it could be a 4 thing. Yeah, it could be a 4 thing. So, but like the other stuff, the work pile though,
but doing all this jobs and stuff, that's
that's
definitely not
jarring. That's jarring.
specialized.
That's specializing, dude. That's jarring. Like, that's been the last 10 years. That's what my life
That's
is.
spinning your head on a swivel to insanity. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I've always had specialization because I was looking at like the stuff, right? I'm like, the one I have the most trouble with since I was a kid, like I still remember since like college, I was like, specialization. I'm like, why can't I just do one thing? I keep like getting so mad. I'm like, why can't I just do what those other people are doing? They have one job and they stick to it. I keep doing this, all the different stuff. I work at Burger King, Starbucks, even when I was young, I work in a retail store, like a Home Depot, like a bunch of different, like I've done so many different stuff, it's just, and nothing of them are like related to each other. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, so it's kind of like it's like I was looking at the number ones, right? Like flex, and I'm like, yeah, I have flex demon, but it's not missing. I have personality trainer. I'm the guy here, like the guy that's interviewing people, and then
Like, you're a celebrity.
yeah, like ish kind of like in personality space as an interviewer.
Personality world.
Yeah, like I'm the interviewer guy, right? I'm like the Joe Rogan, I guess you could say. And then like, my travel blog is named after me, so I have my name on it. And then I was interviewed by a local newspaper about my whole travel stuff. So I was in a newspaper. So I have some flex, not missing. It's not huge, but it's not missing. So I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why I was like, okay, I feel very confident I'm a 2, just based on the life pile alone. Plus access service, like, because I was also thinking about like access service and love and quality time. And it's like, I love quality time, but when I absolutely feel gratitude towards someone, I feel like absolutely loved and cared for is when someone helps me. Because I'm overwhelmed, because I'm
My
sleep
wife
lost
too.
doing so much shit. Yeah. So, anyways,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, anyways, man. So cool. So cool. That was a nice discussion on the social type. So I guess 4 makes the most sense to you. Which is cool because crazy because like when we started the interview, you thought you were 1 or 3, but it was like something completely different, you know. Um,
Yeah, I'll take it.
yeah,
Fours are cool. Ones, not as much. At least my experiences with ones. I don't want to trash on the ones because I'm sure they're awesome.
I mean, it's like every type. There's good ones and there's good ones, bad ones, good force, bad force. You know,
How would a bad four look like?
I think the bad force are bad, more from irresponsible side of things, where like you know
Yeah.
you're like overly relying on your family and friends, and you become a burden to them because you lack ambition to get ahead in life, because of the lack of the flex. So because of the lack
Mhm.
of ambition, you're becoming a burden to everyone. So I think that's an example of a bad four. It's like becoming a burden to everyone else. So there's bad force and good force like anyone else. So
Those are the folks that I saw on Amazon when I was working there. People just hang out and talk and goof around instead of actually like getting up and doing something.
yeah, but then you see fours who are they lead a good life. They work hard, they go to work, they keep up with their health. They work out and stuff, and they have a good social group. And if they get promoted at work, they're not like, no, 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 please don't promote me. They're like, okay, I'll try it out, right? So it's like, because like force don't they're not missing two, right? You're not missing responsibility. It's a demon, but you're not missing it. So as you get
Yeah.
older, it's only gonna get stronger, right? So a lot of force do become supervisors, and they're really caring supervisors, and that's what you want for a supervisor, right? Is someone that's caring, right? You don't want a douchebag to be your supervisor. You want someone that actually cares, right? About other people, right? So yeah, so there you go, man.
Had a coworker who's in the military. I think he's at 3.
Yeah,
Then yeah, coworker that was in the military, and he was talking about how he used to be a supervisor, and then his like higher up in the rank would ask him like, "Hey, why did you choose this person, not this person?" And he would say, "You know what? I don't want to look for people who are having like a checkbox here. I have an MBA, I have this, I have that. I'm looking for somebody who actually cares about their team." And so he went off on about the importance of not just checking off boxes of what your credentials are or whatever.
right.
And so I asked him, "Would you hire me if I were, or would you?" No, he's sorry. I'm trying to piece together. So he said that if he would not work for that person, he would not promote them. And so I said, "Well, would you work for me?" And he said, "Absolutely." I was like, "Wow, thank you. Why?" And he said, "That's because you actually are non-judgmental and you're very thorough and you care about your work." So he probably described the 4 right there.
Yeah,
And
sounds
he
like it.
said, "If you were going to judge anybody, that'd be me." And I just laugh.
Is this person like a decider or something?
I thought he was extroverted, but I think he's an ISTP.
Okay, an ICP.
He says
Okay,
he's introverted, but oh, I gotta really think about this.
like an extrovert ISTP maybe. uh, okay,
Yeah.
dude. What David Shan said about threes and fours was really good. It's like the most inspiring thing they said about three and fours, which I really like,
Mhm.
was for you guys, your work speaks for itself. Um, and I really like that because like you guys really take a lot of care and effort to really hone in the craft, right? Ones
Yeah.
and twos have gimmicks. They do like the whole marketing scheme and like and whatnot, try to convince you to buy their widget or service. Uh, but then if you had a product or service that was already like really honed in, it speaks for itself. You don't need to go through all that effort to try to push it, right? So I think that's a really good thing about threes and fours. Because like as a two, I remember every time I start a new endeavor, I'm always thinking about the gimmick. Like, what is the gimmick? Like, how am I gonna do like a sales funnel? You know, like, am I gonna use like this thing to create like an email to send to people, and then the email will create engagement, and engagement I can convert into sales later on. And I'm always thinking about this gimmicks, and I'm like, dude, just stop with this shit. Like, just like hone in your craft, and you don't need to do any of this BS. Okay. And if you have to do this BS, maybe it's like once a year, like Black Friday or something. That's it. Right. You know? Like look at Dave, right? He's like Dave and Shan is a 1 and 2, but they really work at a craft, which is OPS. It sells itself. They don't do any marketing, like it's just sells itself. So and I think ultimately that's what you want to get to is like whatever you're working on, you hone the craft so well that you attract people towards you and they really see the value without you having to like be a snake oil salesman or whatever.
And funny story, I'm taking a bunch of classes online through like this military thing that they do.
Yeah.
And so I took some assessments for fun just to see where I stand. I scored really high, and these kind of surprised me too. I scored really high on communication and on like project management, that kind of stuff. But where I scored low was on selling, really low. I'm like,
You can't sell for shit.
I can't. I'm sure I'd be good at it if I tried it, but I don't know. Salespeople seem kind of fake to me. I'm not saying
Well,
all of them.
I think you can sell without being fake. I'm really good at sales. Like I remember I worked at the gym before and I was like out of 100 people, number 7 for sales for personal training packages. And then when I was working in my college, they got me to sell like calendars and stuff, and I sold most of it. But I wasn't like slimy about it. Like when I was selling those calendars, I remember I just had like a gimmick, like I just tell people, I was like, hey, have you heard of this? Like instead of like trying to sell people right away, instead of going for the close, I asked them a question, right? And people was like, no, I haven't. What is that? And then I explain what it is. So there's no sales pitch, right? And then after I explain what it is, and I see their eyes like brighten up. That's when I go out like, yeah, we're selling these calendars. It costs this much. And then that's kind of when I go for the sales pitch, like great gift for Christmas, you know.
I did hear ENFPs are really good salespeople.
Yeah, and I think it's good. I think maybe ENFPs are good at it because we're like authentic about it. We're not like slimy at selling something, because like people
Yeah.
actually come up to me and they're like, should I buy this? I'm like, no, save your money. That's what I'll say to people, right? Like I actually don't want to push something to people that they don't need. But
You're like
like
the
if I
honest one that will say, I don't like this. Oh, I really believe this will work for you. You're like honest about it.
yeah, I'm like, nah, you don't need it. Just go save your money. That's all I'll say, right? But like if I know someone needs something, I'm gonna be pushing it hard. I'll be pushing it hard. But only if I know if they need it. If they don't need it, I'm not gonna push it. So it's like that kind of deal. So but like now I'm trying to learn like you guys' way, the threes and fours, where like the craft speaks for itself, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm really inspired by that, and I think like threes and fours are doing it right in that aspect of things. I think the only thing like I could criticize threes and fours is like threes and fours take everything seriously because ones and twos know everything's fake. It's like a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
So like for example, I think one of the biggest thing that like threes and fours fall for is like workplace politics. Because the ones will say something and they'll think it's real. But then for me as a two, I'm like, that person only said that because they're trying to do this. So they're trying to start shit, you know, to rile people up and hopefully create like negative feelings toward like a certain person in the office, you know, which will make them look good. So it's for the sake of boosting up their status when all the threes and fours think it's real, right? And then I'm like, oh my god, you guys fell for the trick. The
I'm
trick.
guilty of this. I fall for that all the time.
I'm
Like
like,
that riot mentality or whatever. Everybody's having a bad day and complaining, and then I want to join in too.
yeah,
And then the person could easily say, "Oh, I just made this up just to see what your emotions are."
exactly, dude. Exactly. You don't want to get tricked by this stuff, Like my girlfriend gets tricked about this all the time. I'm like, no, no, it's a trick. That when that person said this, that's not actually what they meant. They only said that to cover up this, you know. Like there's always like some kind of like thing happening. Like for example, my girlfriend went back to school to be a teacher, right? But previously she was working for a college, and her new boss at the college was always saying things that was not true. She's an ENFJ, I think, and she was saying things that always was not true. She was only saying it to pump up her image at work, right?
Oh,
And like all the threes and fours were believing her at face value, and I'm like, no, no, don't fall for this. It's a trick, And then now, obviously, the curtain has been starting to get lifted, and my girlfriend already left the workplace, but her coworkers are saying, "Oh my god, this person causing so much chaos in the workplace." Turns out a lot of the stuff that she was saying was not true, you know. but it's not till you have to wait for a two to open a curtain then, because the twos can see the BS, but they also care about friends, right? So the two, we have to wait for a freaking two to go open a curtain for the threes and fours to explain to you guys, no, these ones are tricking you. You know, you guys are getting tricked, you know. Anyways, so I think
Yeah,
that's my only like thing that I want to say to the threes and fours. Like, don't get tricked. Don't think the things at face value. There's actually people who are like playing the politics game at work, and they're not sincere, and what they're saying is it's just a way to increase the status, not actually gives a shit about you guys, you know.
that is what I'm scared of like wherever I go at work. It's like, how do I know if this person really cares or if they're just, making me believe this so I can fall for their tricks?
But you're a double decider, dude. You can't see it when it's happening. Like,
Yeah, I can. Yep.
can you see it or can you not? Or it takes longer? Or like what's going on?
That's a good question. I guess 9 out of 10 times I can see it. It's
Okay.
just more like I don't know how to handle it. So
Or
like this person could talk, like I'll give an example. I was hanging out with a buddy and we were gonna go out to like the hospital because a mutual friend of ours was sick or something.
right.
And so asked me in this really fake tone, "Hey, can we take your car because my car broke?" And I don't remember what excuse. And I'm just like, fine. I didn't want to call him out or anything, but just that kind of fake talk BS. I can see it. I just don't
Okay.
know how to handle it or maneuver it.
Oh, I see. That's a tough one. In that case, you need to learn how to use the politics game also when they're doing it to you. So it's like a something your play last has to practice. Is learning how to maneuver around the politics, because like you now know this is gonna happen again. You don't know in what context. NI, right? Because this, your NI last, right? So you need to plan for this shit. Um,
I
so
can
this,
tell you when the red waves are coming. I saw that video about the NI inferior, right? The red wave is coming, Donald Trump, whatever.
yeah,
So like I'm pretty good at that, anticipating bad waves.
yes, but it's gonna happen at smaller scale too, not like the big scale like
Not,
politics.
not like, yeah, not as big as that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe big scale is easy to see, but like at your workplace, for example, we're like, okay,
Little splashes and puddles here.
which of my coworkers is a one? What are their motives? And you need to trust your gut too, right? Like intuition is your gut instinct almost, right? Because it's a guess, right? You don't have the extrovert sensing proof because they didn't actually say the sensor words, but your gut is like going crazy that something is off, right? Kind of like when that person was doing the fake thing, right? Like something was off,
Yeah.
but you didn't want to say anything. Maybe also trying to preserve your energy because you're also, you know, play last, right?
It's
like
kind of like, do I want to expend my energy fighting this, or do I just let it go? I don't have time for that. I'll let it go.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Like, do I have time for this BS? So, um,
Being double activated and I consume sleep last play. I guess I would, in theory, have easier time seeing this than
you saw it. Like you give me a good example. That's NI. Your gut was telling you that something was off, but like, you didn't you didn't care enough. I mean, it's such small examples. It's not. Sometimes you do have to ignore it, right? But like sometimes it is something big, so you do have to plan for it. Like, because there's like a chain of events that happens when like one thing that someone does can lead to a chain of events. Do you watch like Marvel movies?
it's been a while. I get bored at movie theaters. Just
Oh, I see. Okay, right now in MCU they talk about like the multiverse saga right now, right? Like there's different universes and stuff. But like the point is like when you do one thing, a bunch of stuff can happen because of that one thing, right? So um that's why you have to be kind of careful at certain events, because certain events can change the trajectory of your life, right? Like for example, if you meet someone that's like really high up in your company, you didn't know they were really high up, but you were really friendly and they really like you, but you didn't know they were higher up. But then now this person knows who you are. You made a good first impression, and especially you were very candid because you didn't even know this person was higher up. So you just acted like a normal person, right?
that
And then now
happened
this
to
person
me.
will tell like the other higher ups about you, your work, your social skills, your friendliness, and out of nowhere, maybe you get called up in the office. Now you're like getting promoted or something. You're like, what the hell happened, right? So You know, like that's a chain of event that could happen. But the ones are obviously more cerebral about it. Or like, if I position myself near this top person and I really impress them, then I can fast track my way to success, which is what they're thinking all the time, right? You know, that's what like the ones are doing. You know,
Maybe
the
that's
two,
what I gotta do with with bosses like that. Just suck up to them,
you
impress
don't have to
them.
suck up. I mean, it depends what boss you have, also, right? You don't know what, because you know there are bosses that are like one, two, threes, and fours, right? You don't know which one it is. You know, the sucking up thing only works for the ones, right? Like, you
Yeah,
know, so if
I'm
there are
sure
two, you just have to be normal.
exactly. They're the opposite. Don't suck up to them. They'll see right through it.
Yeah, just be normal, and then but then show your intent that you want to move up also. Like you need to flex, because if you don't flex to the twos what? Okay, well, because the threes they flex, right?
Yeah,
And then the twos they love specialized people because they can stick them to the right place. So you have to flex a little bit about your job to get attention, so that you can move up faster in your career. So it does work. The NI does work uh for sure.
I guess I'll have to go. Have you heard of the Peter Principle?
You can tell me about it. I don't know.
Okay. Peter Principle is a book about people moving up and how to move up until you hit your level of incompetency. So you get really good at your job, and then naturally that person will move up and up and up until they hit what's called a ceiling or incompetency.
Yeah.
And so if you're good at your job, you move up. If you have incompetencies, what the author calls it, like let's say this guy's really good at his job, but he always shows up late. And so he's probably less likely to move up. Or this gal here, she's really good at what she does, but she could be really standoffish, and we want a manager that's more approachable. I'm just
Right.
kidding. And so he gives 4 different quadrants. And so like the first quadrant is like, the really bad employees. What do you do with them? You fire them. And then the second ones are they're good, but not quite 100% good enough. Those are the folks that stay stuck in their careers. And so the third quadrant are the people who are good at their careers, good at their jobs. They're the ones that get called up to managers or whatever. And then the fourth quadrant are they're so good that others feel threatened and they end up losing their jobs.
That's so funny.
The work yourself out of a jobs type of folks are in that fourth quadrant.
So you have to be good, but not too good.
Yeah, that's what Peter Principle teaches.
That's so funny, man.
So
I'm trying to
flex,
think
but
now.
not too much that everyone's going to hate you and want to get rid of you with pitchforks.
Yeah, that sounds like a one or something, or like an IP. That sounds like an IP. Like tribe hate. They got tribe hate, right? Then
So what about the first quadrant, the folks who they just don't know how to do their jobs well and they struggle, and
I think they're twos and fours probably.
yeah, probably some twos and fours over here.
Yeah,
And
because the
then
two can't specialize, and the four doesn't give a shit enough about ambition. So it's like, so
something to look into. Peter
yeah,
Principle is what the book is called.
no, that's awesome, dude. I'm gonna look into it for sure. I've struggled with that actually.
Yeah.
Because I can't specialize for shit. Because I keep jumping around to too many. I'm doing too many things. I mean, right now it's different now. I'm older now, so I feel like I'm more specialized. I'm a little bit more specialized now. Like for YouTube, I know how to video edit now, so I can make explainer videos. And then,
Hey, you're a typology guru.
yeah, typology, right? And then, for fitness, like I know it enough. Like my
Fitness
boss,
guru.
yeah, fitness, yeah. Like my boss, like recently gave me like a raise, and they gave me like the highest raise possible for fitness trainer. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like,
Wow.
and he told me in the office, like, yeah, you do good work. I don't see any reason not to give this to you, because I asked about it, right? So I'm like, okay. And I think like the next thing I'm also learning is you need to ask, you know, like maybe you are good at your job. It's just like you didn't ask for it, so they thought you're satisfied, but really you wanted like a raise or something, or like a promotion. Like you just sometimes you just need to ask, right? Like for me, I think my biggest problem is I never ask. I never just like, hey, I'm interested in this. What can I do to get this? Because I feel like if you had a boss and you told, like, if you were a boss and then your employee were to go up to you and tell you that, and then you can see like, okay, this employee is really nice, there's really friendly, works really hard. There's no reason for you to not want to help them to, move up, right? Like, of course you do, right? You want them to be happy, and they seem serious, and you know what I mean. So like, I don't know about you, but like for me personally, I'm like, I need to ask more, Like,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, big dude.
That's what I need to do too. Just like extrovert more, just go out and ask and communicate more and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, dude, your play last, that's why you're not doing it. And for me, I'm DE. That's why I'm not doing it. So I
What's your
need,
last one again? No, your sleep last.
yeah, like I'm like, I have like decider issues because I mean, it's better now. I'm older, obviously, but like, and I'm still a double decider, but like, so for me, I need to look at my DIs, like, what do I want? Ask for it. For you, use the fucking play last. Use it, just use it. Right. So
So using just to recap real quick, using play last, that means I just got to go out there and do it, right?
you just
Get
need,
out there,
well, plays is engaging the tribe. So you just need to engage your
engage.
boss and just ask like normally, like you don't have to be weird about it. It's like, hey, you know, um, if this is my goal, so okay, this is your NI, okay. This is the NI is the North Star, right? So like I would like to get here one day. What do I need to do to get there? I'm willing to work as hard as possible uh to get there. I just need a roadmap to get there. Uh, so just ask, as friendly way as possible and professional. What can I do to get there? Because I actually surprised. I went up to my boss just like a week ago, and I asked him, like, yeah, you know, like what's the roadmap like, right? If I want this, and then my boss just laid it out to me. It's like, okay, you have this experience, blah blah blah. So you have the YouTube stuff, so social media marketing, that stuff. You work as a recruiter, so you know that stuff too. 10 years in fitness, you obviously your shit. Like, so it's like you just have to ask, right? And then they look at your experience, and then the experience will kind of dictate, like, okay, what else is missing? How can you get that thing that's missing? And then yeah. But the intent, man, the intent is important. Without the intent, you're gonna be stuck.
True. Just set a goal and then just freaking do it.
No, set the goal and communicate it.
Communicate it. I love it.
Yeah, because you can't just have a goal and no communication, because it's like, have you heard of a book called The Alchemist?
I've heard of it, but I've never read it. Is it good?
Yeah, man, it's like, it's a fictional book, but the wisdom in the book is true to life. So it's like, it's my favorite fictional useful book of all time. I use the word useful because it's not just fictional, it's also useful. And like there's a quote in a book, and I'm gonna butcher this a little bit, but just to kind of like paraphrase in a butchered way. It's like, if you have a dream, the universe will conspire with you to help you achieve it.
Oh, I've heard that quote. Yeah.
Yeah, by Paulo Coelho. So it's like, it's NF, but it's true also, because like if you have a goal and you're obsessed over the goal and you tell everyone about your goal, people are gonna think about your goal also. And then if something happens in their life that like aligns with your goal, they'll probably bring it up to you. And then that's how you gain opportunity, right? Because that's how us EPs, that's how we live life. We just fall into opportunities, right? You know, but we don't have the opportunity if we don't communicate it, right? Because then no one knows that this is what we want. No one knows your North Star. No one knows my DI, right? So it has to be communicated. And
The
it's like a,
squeaky wheel.
yeah, and it's a point of insecurity because your NI is your fourth function and your play last. And then for me, my FI is like double demon activated, even though I'm a double decider. Really weird, right? So yeah, so it's just part of growing is just to use those demon animals, right? So yeah, there you go, man. Anyways, dude, I gotta wrap this interview because I actually have to teach spin soon. So
Wow.
yeah, I know I'm just like one after another. So thanks for coming out and sharing more about your life. And like, I'm glad we were able to look at your sexual modalities, your social type, and like really hammer it out.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your super busy schedule to do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, happy to help you in any way. So take care, Vic. I'll see you
All
around.
right, you too, man.
We'll stay in touch.
Alrighty.
Okay, bye.